All right, we're back for another Free Agent Friday, and today I've got Hilary Goldberg with me. How are you, Hilary?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
Doing really good. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today.
So let's get started. Tell us where you went to school and your degrees that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to the George Washington University, so in Washington, D.C. I studied sports management and marketing. I was a dual major, and then I minored in communications. I was also a rower there for 4 years, so I was on the team there and got to compete and made some of my best friends at GW.
Nice. So you were on the road team all 4 years?
All 4 years, yep. I
Okay.
was a rower in high school and then in college as well.
How about internships? Did you do any internships?
I did actually. One of my professors at GW was the vice president of entertainment at the time, now the president of the venue at Capital One Arena, David Toohey, and I was an intern for the Wizards during the fall of my senior year. And then I was an intern for the entertainment department. After my internship with the Wizards wrapped up, I walked into his office and said, so how can I do this on the entertainment side for the spring? And so had a very nice experience being able to work in an arena and get the exposure from the team side as well as the entertainment side.
When did you realize you wanted to be kind of in sports and entertainment?
Early, before that ever happened. I am a big music fan. You know, a lot of my profession is all in sports, but I am a very big concert goer, and I have this very distinct memory actually of going to a concert at what was the Verizon Center, now Capital One Arena, with my dad, and we went to go see Coldplay. And we got there early and saw the professionals and the folks working the concert walking around with their badges, and I just pointed to them and I said, I don't know who they are and I don't know what they do, but I want to do that.
That's very cool. What's your favorite concert that you've been to?
Oh gosh, that's a tough one. Oh, that's a real tough one. I've been to a lot of really good ones. I am a huge Jason Mraz fan. I've seen him in concert well over 15 times, and at this point I've lost count.
All right, that's
But
getting borderline stalkerish.
that bad, I swear. But there was one show that I went to, solo, went ahead and splurged for the front row ticket, and it was an absolute blast, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
So what's your ideal position that you're looking for now?
What I would really like to do now is focus on building fully integrated and innovative partnerships. I think, the sponsorship world is and has been changing and really evolving to where logo sponsorships are going to be a thing of the past very soon. And it really is about integrated mutual partnerships and brands helping properties and properties helping brands. And I really want to be part of that process, building those partnerships.
And then what's your dream job?
I'm gonna go pie in the sky.
That's the
uh,
only way.
as a former athlete and huge Olympic nerd, I think my dream job would be president of the IOC.
Nice. That's a good one.
Second to rock star, but one can dream.
Yeah. Well, at least you got two options.
Yeah, exactly.
So walk me through your resume after you got out of school.
Yeah, I was very fortunate in the fact that I achieved one of my career goals straight out of school. I knew that I was not in a position to compete in the Olympics, but I am very much a believer in the movement and a huge fan of the Olympics in general. So that was a career goal of mine, was to work in Olympics. And I had the opportunity to start my career with NBC Olympics on the operations side. So I started working on several programs for them that were really internal focused and not forward facing. I worked very closely with inside the game services team. So I always describe it as it was our job to make sure that the production crew could do their job. And it was a really great exposure to the entire operation of what it takes for a broadcast to come together, especially one that has so many different locations. And really, I was in a unique position to have exposure to a lot of different departments. Um, I started at NBC on a contract basis, so I had a short experience with Octagon, working on a couple of accounts for them on their BMW and Clear accounts, which was very consumer facing and focused on building event marketing and bringing a BMW Drive program out to drivers and BMW owners so that they could test drive in unique scenarios. And then I went back to NBC, where I continued some of the merchandise programs and the operations programs that I had been working on. I launched the retail store that they have. It's an online retail store for specific NBC Sports product that's sold to employees and used for business purposes as well. And then I was looking for a change about 2015, so decided to try the agency side and made the transition to Aquarius Sports and Entertainment after 8 years at NBC Olympics, and have since been on the sponsorship side and working with clients, managing their partnership portfolios and really helping build and maintain those relationships, making sure that we're seeing the return on investment and constantly evaluating their portfolios to make sure that we're achieving their business goals.
While you were there, was there any projects that you're most proud of?
There's a couple. The last account that I was working on prior to COVID was really bringing to life a new program to the sports industry, which I'll touch on a little bit lightly because we never really got to fully announce it. So I don't want to get ahead of the program itself. But what I was really proud of was being able to contribute to the strategy of how we were going to bring it to market and how we were going to be positioning a new program to really help teams broaden their exposure and bring in new fans and really engage fans in a different way. And I was really proud of being able to put together a strategy of how we were going to bring that program to life, target teams, and really present the opportunity that would give to them.
Nice. It's always fun to be there from the beginning of a project, help create it and mold it and, develop it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
what would you say are your biggest skills that you'll bring to a new position?
I am a people person. I do not shy away from difficult situations, working with difficult people. I think I really excel working cross-functionally, and I genuinely enjoy understanding the business, right? Not only the marketing goals, but how does the business operate? I think there's a lot that goes hand in hand with having a deep understanding of the agency, brand, property relationships, and how each of those pieces operate inherently, because I do believe that beyond just marketing, there can be a lot of efficiencies and a lot of efficiencies and innovations that can be created and found by just having a deep understanding of how all those work and being able to find synergies between each of the properties involved in the process.
With that being said, what do you think you need to work on the most?
It's interesting that you ask that. I will fully admit that data analytics is not my strong suit. So that's actually something that I'm using this time to lean into and take some courses online to make sure that I am bolstering those skills and can really leverage those so that I can bring that to the table without having to lean on outside parties for analysis of information that might already be in-house.
With your next role, are you looking for something that is local? Or are you open to relocate?
I'm open to relocating. I'm in the DC area now, but I'm open to following the opportunity. I think there are definitely some opportunities that I've seen that unfortunately haven't come to fruition, but that I would jump at in a heartbeat. And so there's nothing wrong with a little bit of change now and then.
How would you define success?
So There's a couple of things that mean success to me. I think that's a really interesting question because there's just so many different aspects, right? Personally, professionally, how you marry the two. I think how I define success is making an impact, whether that's providing advice to a newcomer or a student who's trying to get into the sports business, whether that's presenting an idea that really is a game changer, whether that's being able to bring a solution to a challenge or a project or a problem. But being able to have that impact and make a difference, I think really is something that means success to me. And then going back to what you said earlier, being able to see a project all the way through, see it from the beginning, get it off the ground, and really see it through to fruition, and look at kind of the work that you've been able to present and accomplish. You know, that's a very satisfying feeling, is to really bring a project full circle.
How about a fun fact about you?
Oh gosh. Let's see. Here's a fun one. I once took a zip line off of the Great Wall of China.
What?
Yeah, back when I was working with NBC, I was very fortunate. I traveled to 4 different Olympic Games, my first of which was in Beijing 2008, and had a couple of days on the tail end of my stay in China. And so some friends and I decided to hike the Great Wall. There was about, I think it was a 10-mile stretch that you could hike, and then your way down to the van that would take you back was by zip line.
Wow. How high up was it?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I don't know. Probably
I can't.
50 feet.
That would be, I don't know if I could do that.
It was a blast.
Would you do it again?
I would absolutely do it again. I never thought that I'd be able to say that I did something like that, but it was a blast.
That's cool. And especially with being able to travel for the Olympics, that had to be pretty good experience.
It was an amazing experience. I've been to places in the world that I honestly never thought that I would go otherwise. China is a perfect example. I was always very intimidated about traveling through Asia just because of the language barrier. It's drastic cultural change. You know, I was 20, 21, 22 at the time. And I would not trade that experience for anything. I would go back in a heartbeat. It was absolutely beautiful and an amazing experience. And was very fortunate to also then be able to travel to Vancouver, London, and Sochi.
Nice. Very, very interesting. Well, I appreciate you joining me, and hopefully we can help get you some exposure. I'm sure you'll be back at it, pretty quickly. So
thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me.